case Z2026-12, the applicant Prime Storage Powers Ferry LLC is requesting the rezoning of 10.727 acres of property located at 1155 Powers Ferry Place from CRC Community Retail Commercial to CRC with an additional use as a data infrastructure facility for the purposes of allowing portions of the existing building in site to be converted into a data infrastructure facility. And Mr. Parks Huff is here to present on behalf of the applicant.
Are you timing?
I'm timing.
If you can give me, when 10 is done, let me know.
You want 5 minutes left? Is that what you're saying? I'll reserve 5 minutes for you.
Okay.
Good to see you, Mr. Huff. Go ahead.
Good evening. For the record, my name is Parks Huff with Sam's Larkin & Huff, and I represent the applicant in regards to this land use zoning case before you this evening. The subject property is 1155 Powers Ferry Road. The dialogue before is that building was something else before, and it was. It was Pace Warehouse, which was a precursor to like a Sam's Club and a Costco. It was a 90+ thousand square foot building that was retail with a warehouse combined together. And then out in front of that was a parking field. And that was converted 30 years ago to self-storage. And if I can go to the next slide. Prime Group Holdings is the owner of the property. They actually own several properties in Georgia and several properties in Marietta. And the proposal is to actually, going to the next slide, is to convert a portion of this property and a portion of the building to provide data infrastructure. So a couple things that I want to really point out early on is that, one, this is an existing building, which is what we call like a brownfield development. It's not taking land that has nothing on it and converting it. It's using what's already there, the pavement, the building, and everything. It's using the existing utilities. The substations and everything are sized for this. It's using the existing access. And it is zoned CRC and has been zoned CRC for many years. It's roughly almost 11 acres if we're going to the next slide. Now, as a land use case, we look at the zoning, we look at the land use plan, and we look at the surrounding uses. The things I'd like to point out is a star is our subject property. That is the former Pace Warehouse building, and then where you see actually the star on that left-hand side, in front of it is the parking lot that has been converted to the metal storage buildings. And what things that jump out at you is it's right next to the interstate, right next to the Delk Road, north of the Delk Road interstate interchange. And the other thing that I want to point out to you, and we're 1155, and to the right there's a white block, rectangle, and I think it's 1130. I can't read the number right now, but that is CoreLogic. It's an existing exact same use we're proposing right now. That's what they do in that building. Very similar to this, and that entire building has been converted to computer usage and has been that way for about 20 years, I believe. And so some of the same factors of why this is a good site for our use is the fact it's close to the infrastructure, not only utilities, power, but also cables and internet and that connectivity. If you look at the next to the right, excuse me, the next one to the right is the current zoning. It is CRC, and again, I point out to you that existing building that is the same exact use we're proposing is the same zoning category that we are. CRC, the data usage is not defined in your light industrial code. It's not defined in your CRC code. So you have to look granularly and see actually what's happening and see whether it fits in with the area. That use is already there, already in the CRC. We are in a regional activity center, again, which is the most intensive land use plan. And again, compare and contrast, that's actually in a community activity center. So it's actually slightly lower. Go on the next slide. This is a 12 megawatt data computing infrastructure center, and the purpose and the need is critical because latency is a real problem. We at one time tried to, during COVID, we had all our computing done in the cloud and our data in the cloud. It worked great, but the latency, we couldn't handle the latency. The trying to manipulate maps and everything, and the delay wasn't good. So the importance of the location and the reason why this makes so much sense is it's putting this computer usage close to the property, close to where it's being actually used. And that low latency is really critical for things like medical, traffic controls. And as you know, you're the #1 digital city in the country. And one of the things you do is you partner with like Georgia Tech to come up with technology so as when your emergency vehicles are going down the road, it changes lights and tells the surrounding public. That's the type of use and why it's needed close by. Go to the next slide. This is a existing self-storage facility. It will remain a self-storage facility with this additional use. So it's a great opportunity to bring two uses to a property. 17% of the property will actually be this computer usage. 83% of the yard of the property will continue to be self-storage. In fact, over 50% of that building, the Pace Warehouse building, which is where the computer equipment is going, over 50% of it will remain self-storage. The rest of it will be computer usage. Some of the parking lot area will be for the infrastructure that goes along with that. Go to the next slide. Again, this shows that the lighter green is the portion of the building that would be used for this use. And in the front of that, you have both chillers, which are used to cool the building and cool the infrastructure, and then we have backup generators. Now, I want to be real clear. The backup generators are only for backup. They're not to produce power in general. It's only if there's a power outage. They have to have that backup generation, just like a hospital will have backup generators for backup use. That's what those are there for. And the chillers and coolers are same as you would have in an office development in larger hospitals and things like that. That's the type of equipment there. We have agreed, and this is a closed loop system. So it does not use municipal water. It is a closed loop, very similar to your radiator. And when it needs to be replaced, the material inside it is taken away and processed and new replaced, just like your radiator. So it is not the demand on water usage from the municipality. We strategically put the supporting infrastructure that's in front of the building. If you notice from the aerial on the comparable site, it's on the north and south side of that building. They have the same type of equipment there. We have ours just on the south side of the building, closest to the interstate, and then we also have remaining buildings that will be acting as a shield there. Go to the next slide. We have very sensitive to concerns about noise. A couple things. This is obviously the resounding noise issue is the fact that you've got the interstate right there. But what we propose is two things. One, we're going to have the wall or the fence between us and the adjacent property would be replaced with a sound wall designed and rated for sound attenuation. And those are the examples there are shown of what we would do along our adjacent property line. In addition to that, directly adjacent to the outside cooling units, we would have another sound attenuation wall directly adjacent to that, because that's the best way to do it, is as close to that use, have the sound attenuation wall there, and then the fence would be replaced. If we go on the next slide. This is a request to keep the CRC zoning and do the same use as 250 yards from us, and just allow this additional critical infrastructure data usage on the property. As I said, we would agree to, in my stipulation letter details that the things that we're telling you, we would agree to: limitation on the size of the property, all the sound mitigation that we would be agreeing to. And the key here is having data usage close to where it is actually used. One of the things that I think that I try to bring it down to what I can relate to. We used to replace our computers more every 2 years. We'd have to update our computers because the computing world was changing so fast. That doesn't happen because so much more of our computing is not done at our computer. It's not even done we think it's all being done on our phone. It's being done elsewhere. When you run Copilot or manipulate a picture, that's being done elsewhere. and you have to have places for that to be done. So as less and less is being done here, more and more is being done at centralized locations, and latency is critical for traffic controlling, for businesses that rely upon fast access and manipulation of information and data, hospitals, and things like self-driving cars and such. Go on to the next slide. We have tried to address the questions and concerns the staff has. Is it industrial? Is it, again, we compare it to the other data usage that is 250 yards from the subject property, and we note that it is, we don't produce anything on site. The equipment, the outside equipment is similar to what you have in a large office building, hospital setting. And I'm going to reserve my additional time until after the residents speak. Thank you.
Anyone else here in favor of this application? Please come forward, state your name.
Donald Barth. I guess y'all know I'm not against data centers. We need them. This could be a good use of a data center. I picked up the paper today. First thing I read, staff analysis does not make a recommendation, but notes that there's rezoning. It's not aligning with the city, and that there's not enough information right here. You guys need to talk right now and see if we can't table this. I'm not that smart, but I know that if you have a pre-existing building, you have all construction out of concrete. Concrete transfers sound. If you were building from the ground up, you would include some styrofoam. These guys got the effort. Let's get them to come back to you with more detail. It's not a bad deal, but you're building already too close to some homes. Let's let them build it if they meet certain qualifications. And that's going to take a lot. I need you guys to throw stipulations. You don't need to write a blank check when these guys walk in here. Who are they? Are they Pornhub? I don't know who they are. You don't know who they are. Do you not understand that they walked in here and asked us to write?
I'm going to pause here. Mr. Huff actually was trying to reserve 5 minutes for rebuttal, and your support is eating into that time. So I want to ask Mr. Huff, would he like to?
I don't actually consider that support.
Okay.
Sir, this is support. I want you to come back with stipulations. I don't want you guys to write a blank check.
We can discuss with the board whether this is going to, I'm concerned that this is straying into at least a neutral comment, if not
Sir, I want the thing, but I want to know exactly
I'm not debating with you about it. I'm not going to let this eat into Mr. Huff's time because he wanted
You're
to.
not going to interfere with my First Amendment.
You're not going to interrupt this meeting.
You're not going to interfere with the First Amendment.
Okay.
Do I make myself clear?
Yeah, we can talk about it later, Mr. Barth. I'm a big supporter of the First Amendment. Okay, I think you want to ask for if there's anyone in opposition.
Is there any opposition to this application? Any opposition to this application? If you have signed in, please come down. If there are many of you, pick a spokesman.
Once we have people signed in, if y'all want to give me a heads up as to how many there are, I'll try to divide your time up so everybody gets equal time to speak. It's 15 minutes total for everybody here in opposition. Same amount that the applicant gets in. Yeah, let's wait. I'm going to ask you to wait until we know how many people we got so I can split it up evenly. You can come up and make a comment. No, if you wanted to sign in, you can make a comment. We're getting that.
You signed in?
You signed in? Are you signed in for this one? Okay, yeah, you can ask it when you come up. Again, you can, when it's your time to comment, you can ask it. I'm sorry, I just got to keep, I'm trying to set the example that the comments are going to happen at the podium. Okay, how many, let me take a count of how many people are speaking in opposition. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm with the UGA, I don't do math very well, so I'm going to see if I can divide that 15 minutes up. So give me a minute.
About a minute
Yeah.
and 37 seconds.
Yeah. You're each going to get about 100 seconds. So let's see. All right. If the chair wants to grant a little, and we could give the applicant a little additional time too, we could give everybody, a minute and a half to 2 minutes. You want to give everybody, you want to do 2 minutes? And we could give Mr. Huff additional time to respond if he wants to. So the chair has the authority to sort of alter the rules, but we want to make sure everybody gets time to speak, but we got other matters to hear after this, so we can't go too long on this. So we're gonna go 2 minutes for each speaker, and we remind you not to repeat comments if they've already been made. And when you come up, if you'll identify yourself at the podium so we can make sure we got your name on the record. So, yes, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is David Baker. I am a resident of Marietta. My wife and I just bought a house about a mile down the street. First-time homeowners, welcoming a new kid in August. Her name's going to be Kira, born at Kinstone. I want to start with this. Data centers are not a new technology. They've been around for 15 years, if not longer. However, the rise of generative AI post-COVID has driven an explosion in initiatives just like this that are really nothing short of speculation. We don't know what technology is going to look like in the next 10 years. We don't know what AI is going to be like in the next 10 years. Georgia is the data center capital of the United States right now. It started in Alexandria, Virginia. Now it's moved down here. Projects like this are the exact same thing. The presentation that we just saw said that this is an edge computing facility supporting, quote, mission-critical infrastructure. My question is that really the only use case? Based on what I know of this industry, I'm very skeptical. For those of you who don't know, edge computing, the difference between that and other types of data centers, like what Amazon runs in Virginia, is, just like the speaker said, latency. That said, I'm a career data analyst working for a Fortune 500 company in Atlanta. I can query a multi-million, if not billion, record table in Virginia in seconds. What's the difference in this edge computing facility? What capacity does it provide? Does it really provide the latency benefits that they're claiming? My ultimate ask to this committee is not to ban the technology outright. It's likely here to stay, but for the sake of citizens in the city limits, I would ask that we place a short-term pause on data center development within city limits until the technology hits maturity. Ultimately, at the end of the day, we put a human on the moon 50 years ago with a computer the size of a calculator. Why do we need facilities like this that, at least today, do nothing short but help you summarize an email? Thank you.
Mr. Baker nailed his 2 minutes, right at 2 minutes, so everybody follow his example. All right.
Hi, my name is Perry Barrett. Thank you guys for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to highlight the Department of Development Services staff analysis because I think that's where the center of my concerns are. Quote, Marietta's zoning ordinance does not currently define data centers as separate use, distinguish between large-scale and small-scale data centers, or include standards specific to their equipment or operations. As a result, applications of this type are reviewed under existing commercial categories, which may not fully address the unique characteristics of data center development. This case also highlights a type of use that the city may want to evaluate further as part of future zoning code updates, unquote. It's already concerning that the city has already rezoned the property for the Powers Ferry Road data center, given these facts, but I think it's incumbent upon us now here to not advance this proposal for Powers Ferry any further. Just because megawatt usage for this one proposal is smaller than the Powers Ferry one proposal, I still want to remind everybody that 18 megawatts is equivalent to around 15,000 homes from what I could glean online. The proposal here states that they plan to use a closed-loop air-cooled system instead of a water cooling system, which may address the water pollution issue, but will certainly add to the noise pollution issue. This area is surrounded by apartments, residential homes, and other businesses. An AI data center here would certainly disrupt these working-class families who have their home here. Mission critical means nothing. We need transparency from these companies when they propose to invade our neighborhoods. Again, please do not advance this proposal any further under current zoning proposals. Thank you.
All right, my name is Joel Becker, and my opposition spoke a lot about how this is going to improve latency. Let's say that's true. Is that what's impacting the average person who's working in the city? No. You know what will? Higher energy prices, higher water prices, more environmental disasters, and more environmental dangers. We need to be focusing on the actual problems in our city, not combating some problem that doesn't exist, all the while creating an AI that's going to take people's jobs and provide virtually no good. At the end of the day, the vast majority of people are not in support of this. There was a YouGov poll that showed 97% of people are against this, all of which will come to the polls and will vote on this. I supported the mayor in the recent election because I thought Marietta was a well-run city. I thought there was nothing going wrong in this city. But this changes that. This is throwing some massive wrong thing into our city, and the voters know that, and the voters will go to the polls with that. Remember, the mayor only won the election by 89 votes. There are more than 89 people here. They can all go and vote. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dan Katniss. Much of what I originally planned to say was spoken by folks who already went, but addressing a couple of the points that were brought up in the presentation that personally will affect me since I live fairly close to this data center. First of all, no sound, or less sound pollution, less this and that doesn't mean no sound pollution. It was brought up, this is next to the highway and also the air base. And I can tell you, living near there, the sound's already a massive problem, and I worry that increasing the sound even farther will push us into the area where it is unsafe for people to be living there with that high of a baseline sound. There can be these promises made, but in practice, what this ends up looking like may end up being different. And with that, also, like in the practical use of this, it was brought up hospitals, but then when we got into specific use cases, it was all generative AI stuff, self-driving cars, image generation, this and that. I'm a little concerned about what generating random pictures will do for actual people who live here. And on self-driving cars, they're, they've been killing people in different parts of the country. They've been taking jobs from working class people, including many of my own friends who've previously tried to work with Uber or other companies and are finding that work drying up. And if I can be a little less objective, they just suck to drive around Atlanta with, constantly stopping and doing other crap. So I'm concerned about what the actual end usage of what this will be. It feels like talking about hospitals and community good is an afterthought, not the main, what will actually come out of it. And from my understanding, at least, when these data centers are built, you can't really follow it up with something else, bringing up the previous point about what will tech look like in 10 years. Will this just be a dead site? Thank you.
Good afternoon, good evening. It's my first time doing this. I never thought doing this kind of things, but I live roots behind the Rottenwood.
Your name?
Alexandra.
Alexandra.
I live roots behind the Rottenwood Creek, and I'm really worried. I'm nervous about doing this, but I'm more worried than nervous. And I need that you ask them guarantees to the community behind, because it's a lot of houses behind that project. Guarantees like no noise, The home, the values of the price are not going to drop. The water, about the situation with the water, about the power, and the health of the people living there. Because there is families, it's kids, they are my neighbors. We want that you protect our community. Even the technology is amazing, but you have to protect our community. But it's your community, and you are for us. That's it. Thank you.
Ms. Alexandra.
First, I hope this isn't.
And I want to make sure.
Susan Clark.
There we go.
I hope
Last
this
name,
isn't taking time. I'm hoping that you'll extend the time for comments due to the nature of this. I am not here because I don't live near here. I'm here for people like the woman who just spoke, that I just met tonight, who lives there. I'm here for my grandkids. Actually, my grandkids' children I'm here for, who might end up living close by one of these data centers. And I request that you think about a moratorium on this for now, and other data centers in Marietta as well, until we know more about data centers here. Utah, if you want to learn more about data centers and the harm they can cause that they know today, look into the huge one in Utah. They're finding all kinds of issues. We don't have enough information, I don't think, in this day and age to know what could be built in our backyard. I'm thinking that it should be in nobody's backyard, and I'll let other people. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jonathan Shaw. I've been a longtime resident of Marietta, and I enjoy living here. I also bring you the perspective of someone who works in IT. I have worked in data centers in the past. While they can provide many great services, many times they do still tap into local sources, power, water, and our infrastructure. And many times, we as the residents are asked to foot the bill for those increases. It may be about 12 megawatts. That's a pretty good sized data center. What happens when it grows? Who's going to pay for the substation? Who's going to pay for that water? So many times in so many places in Georgia and beyond, the residents are asked to foot higher bills to offset those costs. I moved to Marietta and I made my home here because I enjoy living here. I enjoy reasonable rates. I enjoy the school system. I enjoy power and water that have no problems. I think we need to at least pause to look at this to say, is this going to affect us long term? Are the residents going to be stuck with the bill for this? We have to ask that serious question, because so many times communities are paying 2, 3, 4, 5 times more in power and water. People are getting raked, citizens are getting raked over the coals for this. Now, I am not opposed to technology, but I do ask, as many others have had, to take pause. How big will this thing get? Can our power infrastructure handle it? Can our water infrastructure handle it? Can we ensure that the rates do not compromise the quality of life for the residents here? And we are not given excessive rates to offset this cost. That is what I ask you to consider this evening. Thank you very much for your time.
My name is Catherine Klensky. Brad Matineau for G. Newton wrote, quote, while closed-loop systems reduce direct water use at the data center site, they significantly increase electricity demand. That electricity is often generated by thermoelectric power plants, which are among the largest consumers of fresh water in the United States. The result is a hidden shift in the water burden that the data center shifts to the power plant, unquote. Has the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Cobb Electric Membership Corporation considered how our city and county are expected to cope with the increased energy demands? With high energy usage, how will our energy costs be kept low? Is there an opportunity for this center to be run on solar and wind power rather than shift the cost to local residents' water or power? How will we handle there currently being no regulatory standards in place for a center like this? I have more to learn regarding how centers like these may impact my community and my home. At this time, I'm concerned about the increase of my electricity bill and potentially my water bill if high water usage is needed for equipment to be cooled, even if this is a more water use friendly center. Thank you.
Hello there, my name is Hunter Chalice. Like many of the people here, I was raised and grew up my whole life here in Marietta, and I'm kind of shocked by the recent push for these data centers. Now, like many people said, data centers are not new, but I think it's important we look at the frequency of which they're coming on. It's very noticeable to me that these data centers are coming on a lot more fast, a lot more quickly, and there isn't this type of regulation to kind of rein them in at the speed that they're coming in. And I feel like if we approve this data center, like this rezoning, then that's basically putting in the foot in the door, and it's going to make it almost impossible to kick that foot back out once that's in. So like many of the other people here, I'm asking for a pause on approving of rezoning that would allow for any sort of data centers until we're sure of the exact, environmental, not just environmental, but health as well, power usage, and even though they say there isn't going to be water usage, like the person who came up before me said, there is a hidden cost to that as well. What I would like to ask as well is, do we know the facts on, it was said that there is another data center near here. Are we even aware of the impacts of that data center yet before we're putting in another one? That's another thing to consider here. I just feel like there isn't a lot of information out here. There isn't a lot of guarantees in that presentation that assure you that this is exactly what this data center is going to be used for, that this is exactly what is going to happen, that there is definitely going to be no noise, that there is definitely not going to be a power bill footed. In fact, I don't even think there was something on that presentation saying that we wouldn't be footing the bill for the electricity, which, if I know the rest of the city of Marietta, I don't think anyone's looking forward to that, footing the bill of electricity for benefits we're never going to see. We don't know what this data center is going to be used for.
I want to point out here that I calculated this based on 9 people speaking 2 minutes each. There's actually, looks like there's going to be 11, but you guys are so efficient and so good with your speaking time. I've actually been keeping track of those of you who left more than your 2 minutes, and I've added it up, and there's actually of that 18 minutes, there's still 4 minutes and 5 seconds left, so we've got enough for 2 speakers. So we'll have Mr. Wills, you can go last if that's all right. So
Hello, my name is Alex Erdman. I think that this is an interesting new technology, but it's understandable that many other jurisdictions, Cobb County included, have put moratoriums on the construction of these new data centers. I think that I'd like to point out that there have been some difficulties with closed systems. Cleaning a radiator, having a radiator break open can be a very difficult experience. You get lots of gunk inside. You don't want to have it. There's also the issue of soundproofing. Other people near data centers have begun gluing mattresses, to their windows, trying to block out the sound, trying to cover their windows. I also think this would have a negative impact on the businesses nearby. I understand it's next to an interstate, but there are people at a hotel just down the road from this proposed site. I think that if you won't advocate for the interests of constituents, the City Council, I think that, this is a third rail issue. If you touch it, you get shocked, and it might be, time for a change for the people in government. I think that we don't know what we're getting, and the people involved, all the people who could be impacted, don't want to be guinea pigs.
Larry Wills, 60 Oakmont Drive, Marietta. I went to the BLW board meeting last week, and they had a long discussion about data centers. It's based on the lessons they've learned from the fiasco with the Powers Ferry thing. And the bottom line that I took away from their discussion was that Marietta's not ready to approve any more data centers. They had some serious concerns. One of them is that these data centers are speculative and they can't really plan their energy for speculation on them. They don't even have clients lined up. And there's so many categories of data centers: co-location, money laundering, crypto stuff, hyper things, and now we've got critical infrastructure data centers, which tells me that these people should have some sort of government contract already lined up if they're going to be routing automobiles. But anyway, the big concern is that it could, and 2 or 3 more of these data centers could require as much as 50%, 40 to 50% of the city's energy capacity. And they are concerned, or what I heard them express, and y'all can coordinate with the BLW better than I can, but what they were concerned with of demand collapse of something like 20 or 30% of their energy demand could threaten the financial stability of the city. And right now, the Powers Ferry data center has already gone from 100 and something megawatts, I guess, down to about 40 megawatts or whatever.
All right, Mr. Will.
And
that's 2 minutes plus the extra time Mr. Ertman left.
That's what I heard them concerned about, which seems to be a different policy from what y'all are working from. And that doesn't include my personal problems with it. But is there a deadline for submitting written comments concerning this thing? Can I submit written comments to this body?
This board will make a decision tonight. There'll be a motion tonight, but the council will hear this is just a recommending board, so the council will make the decision next week. So you can submit comments, I suppose, to the staff before the council meeting.
So is that a yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, you can. Yeah. Well, not to this board. I'm just clarifying.
Is there a point after which I submit these, you receive them, that they won't be considered? Is there a point
after
after
they take a vote tonight, this board won't hear it again, and I mean, unless it gets sent back by council, but I mean, they would just need to be submitted before the council meeting on Wednesday.
I still don't understand.
All right, Mr. Huff, since we gave the opposition 18 minutes, I stopped you with 5, and you lost a little bit in some support there. I think we'll give you 8 minutes because you stopped at 10, so that way you'll have the same amount of time to respond, if that's all right. Is that okay, Mr. Chair? Does that sound fair to you? Thank you.
So let me try to bring this back. Y'all are making a land use decision, and quite frankly, I wasn't going to talk about the power issues because that's not a decision before you. You're looking at a land use decision, but Mr. Wills made some statements that were factually inaccurate because I sat down directly with the director of the BLW, and he is right. They're concerned about speculative power usage that may not happen, and that's what Powers Ferry is. This is not speculative. It is ready to go online today, and that contract with the BLW is being worked on today. And so the reality for the BLW is they actually have a power allocation that is allocated to them, and they don't use it all, which is a real loss of revenue because they would like to use all the usage that is dedicated to the city. This fits that model. That's the reason why the fact that this is 12 to 18 megawatts actually is a whole lot better than the speculative one that may come online 2, 3, 4 years down the road. This is something that the infrastructure is there now. And as I said, I sat down directly with the director of the BLW. They're excited about this is coming on. It will immediately pay $500,000 in franchise fees in addition to all the other benefits. So the question is whether those benefits flow to the city or elsewhere, because we know data is going to be around. And what you heard was a lot of fear of what may be. What you did not hear is one person complained about the data center that's 250 yards from this subject property. It is older technology. It doesn't use as much energy as we do, but it is the same thing. And its usage, the tenants in there that use the power are local companies. So the reality is you need this type of infrastructure to support the surrounding businesses. If I go to my slide presentation and go on to the next slide. So this is, all the infrastructure is already here. We're just using an existing building. The comment about what happens if the technology changes and this goes away. Pace Warehouse went away. It became self-storage facility. This is the perfect time to try usage of repurpose a building for this use, because it's been repurposed before, can be repurposed again. It's not going to be purpose-built for this use. It's being refitted for this use. Go on to the next slide. Now, the noise is something that's real easy and simple. Number one is you have a noise ordinance, and that noise ordinance has limitations. We are going to meet the noise ordinance. I've given you examples of how we are going to meet that noise ordinance, but that noise ordinance has 60 decibels at nighttime. We will meet that. That, if you quickly Google it, and you will be using data when you do it, you'll see that that is very quiet. But what I want to note to you is you see on the right-hand side, that's the 65 decibel noise military compatibility zone, and you see where it says site, that's our site. So this is not a quiet area. You've got the interstate, and you're in the noise zone for the Dobbins Air Base, which has up to 65 decibels for the air base. We will be meeting the city's code, and that is how that is handled. There's no big mystery here. Will we create noise? Will we not create noise? We are going to meet the city's code, as we are responsible to do. And we have told you we would do that in the stipulation letter. Go to the next slide. It supports economic development. As I said, the local companies that are located in that other data center, very similar to this. We will support the local businesses, local companies. Marietta is the #1 digital city in the country. I sat here and listened to a presentation where they actually said, create us a dialogue between two people on how to get a business license in the city of Marietta. And all councils out there and listen to this dialogue between two people explaining how to get a business license in the city of Marietta. All of it was created by your department using AI. That is the services that you come with being a #1 digital city in Marietta. You don't do that by being fearful of new technology, but you do take the responsible path and put it in the right location and in the right setting. When you have the opportunity to put this technology in a repurposed building that for the last 30 years this property has been self-storage, now you're going to add an additional type of storage. Instead of storing grandma's furniture, you're now storing digital technology in the site. And that is progress. That has how things move forward and how we improve our economy and improve our business. To the folks who said, I'm in the business and I love, I can contact a data center somewhere else and all this, and then they spout some fear of what the data center might do here. What they're telling you is, we enjoy the benefits of it, but we want someone else to have the burden. It's actually the opposite. The benefit for having this actually should flow to the city residents of Marietta, which is having a stable power usage that's consistent with the needs of the BLW. That is a separate issue. But from a land use perspective, you've got a property that has been underutilized as self-storage. That's an underutilization of valuable property. So now you have an opportunity to take an old Pace Warehouse building, convert half of it to a use that is needed now, and will fit in with the existing technology that's here. You have that opportunity to do it in a responsible way with a closed-loop system, so the fear of taking too much water is not there. The fear of taking too much power, that's handled by the BLW, who has been very responsible stewards. And the speculativeness, this is not speculative. This is going to happen immediately. This is not something that, unlike the Bells Ferry proposal, which has to get a tenant, has to be built, has to do all those things. That could be 3 and 4 years down the road, if it ever happens. This will happen today, provide valuable tax base, services to the businesses, be part of the #1 digital city that we have. Go on to the next slide. It is, we have done everything we can to make it as sustainable as any other proposal that you've ever seen before you. And we are going to be evaluating not only the things I've told you about, the water uses and everything, we're also going to be evaluating the possibility of bringing solar to this property and using that as an opportunity. And go to the next slide. This is a shot from seeing the subject property. Again, the left-hand side is the main building. Some of the right-hand side would be the mechanical equipment. Same outside mechanical equipment you have with any major office building, hospital, things like that. You have power generators that are used for backup, and then you have coolers and chilling units outside that are in a closed-loop system. The noise is taken care of because you have a noise ordinance that is very strict, and we are not asking for variance for noise ordinance. We've given you two ways that we're going to make sure that we meet that noise ordinance, but it's up to us to meet that ordinance. And I really appreciate your time, and I've got a team here that can answer any detailed questions you have about this. This is not the scary proposal that it is made out to be. This is an adaptive reuse of an existing building for technology that is already, quite frankly, right there. And you did not hear one person complain about that data center, which is 250 yards from us, further from the interstate, further from the noise of that interstate. Thank you for your time. Is that my time? Did you?
That was your time.
Okay.
Question? Yes, sir, Mr. Smith. Mark?
Yeah, I've got a question for Mr. Huff. Do you have access to move that in front of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to look at page 6, the staff analysis.
Oh, this.
Its potential and impacts.
Yeah, page 6, I'm with you there.
Page 6. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to paraphrase some of this, but I guess my question is, the cooling and electrical systems are designed in a way that they increase the need for high-velocity fans. And then the staff report says, however, no additional information or specifications were provided to verify how these systems would be designed or operated. I don't believe in tabling this. I think we need to make a decision based on the application. So I guess, my question to you is, why weren't they provided, and do you want to address that now, where we have a chance to listen?
The mechanical equipment that here, and I have the engineer that can also potentially jump in with some additional details, but the equipment is very similar to any equipment. Quite frankly, some of the uses they talked about being potentially in a regional activity center, high-rise office building, they'd have the same type of equipment. We didn't have the detailed specifications of the equipment, but we know that we have to meet the noise ordinance that the city has in their code, and we will meet that noise ordinance.
I'll just say that. So I think we just, also we submitted.
And can you give us your name for the record?
Jonathan Gillis. We submitted what a typical building permit will require, which is a full specification and equipment list, which is what is required by the building department and who reviews these plans. I'm not really sure where that comment comes from, but it's more than probably what you would be provided on a typical building permit submission. And if there is more information needed, we can certainly provide that.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last part of your sentence.
If there's more information needed, we can certainly provide more information, but we just submitted what is required by the building department and the permitting process, so.
Okay, well,
the detail.
My problem is whoever, the staff analysis says they didn't get enough information to really make a good recommendation. Now, you're saying that since that happened, you've provided more information? Or I guess I'm not trying to sound complicated.
I can't speak to who wrote the comment or what the comment's referring to. The the department that reviews these plans is, I believe, the building department, and everything was submitted in order. Nothing has been submitted since it was submitted. So they've had that information the whole time. If there are questions and they need to interpret plans, we can certainly do that. We have a team of engineers that can explain stuff to them. So,
okay. Thank you.
I think what he's addressing is a little different than, he's got full sets of building plans have gone to the building department. There may not be that same level of detail was reviewed by the zoning department, but the city has it. It may be just that, as he said, we may need to get our team to make sure that they understand what those specifications are from a zoning perspective. But all that has been submitted. Every detail has been submitted to the building department for their review.
Mr. Ruff, did I see on your presentation that I think on one of the slides it did say there were sound attenuated fans?
Yes.
So there's, Craig, he did make some reference to that in his actual presentation, I believe.
And also the generators are enclosed generators with soundproofing in the generators too.
In the closed loop system, is there any wastewater discharge at all?
No, it's brought in, and I had that same question because, and what they kept emphasizing me, it's like your radiator. So when you replace your radiator, it's put into a truck and then hauled off.
A creek.
Yeah, it's not discharged to the municipal system.
Excuse me, in relation to that, you say it's a closed system. I understand what a closed system is, but when that system, there's going to be evaporation, yada, yada. How much evaporation is there with this kind of a system? In other words, there's some maybe 5%, da, 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 da. Any kind of number you can throw at that to see? Please come down and tell us your name.
Evening, my name is Bill Lucci, the lead engineer on this project. There's no evaporation. I'm sorry?
Water evaporates naturally, so you're saying that...
It only evaporates if it hits the air. A closed loop system basically means that it stays within piping and the radiators the whole time.
It condenses within the pipes and then it gets...
Yeah, I understand that. Anyway, I understand, but at the same time, I don't question physics or chemistry or anything else. There's going to be some evaporation. But that's all right. I just don't want us to sit here and think that there'll never be another drop of water put into that system. That's not true. I mean, it's going to be some wastage, something's leak, something's going to burst, whatever, so it's going to be some more water put in there. Anyway, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Just to address that, sir, if there is a leak, there's alarming systems and valves that close so that it would be contained. And then if there was water needed at that point in time, again, we would bring it in from an outside source so we could make sure that the water was compatible with the system needs.
Okay, so you're saying an outside source is not from the city of Marietta or the county of Cobb. You're talking about from some other geographic place or what?
I'm not exactly sure where they would get it, but we'd have it trucked in.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, is it just regular water? Is it treated water?
It's got glycol. Again, I mean, it's water. It's your radiator. It's water and other chemicals that help dissipate heat, and it's in an enclosed system. And when and if it ever needs to be replaced, it's pumped out, put in a truck, hauled off, and appropriately dealt with. And this is my understanding like a shopping center would have a chip. This is no different than what a shopping center might have in their cooling system. It's not technology specific to computers. It is technology that's used throughout the county already in city.
Did I hear him say that an alarm goes off?
Yes.
That's noise. Also, sorry.
Can I ask a question in reference to the alarm?
Can I ask a question?
A question in reference to the alarm. Is it an audible alarm that residents would hear, or is it it's data? Okay, so it's not an audible. No one will be disturbed from sleeping because there's a water leak. Okay, thank you.
Please stop, oh, ma'am. Sorry.
We can't have comment. If there's a question that's asked of the applicant or someone in opposition, we can have comments, but we gotta keep the record clear.
And so when you start this system up brand new, where does the water come in from? I mean, I understand it's got water, but where are you getting the water started up with?
We'll bring water in from a source.
From what source?
Hi, my name is Jonathan Krauscha. I'm with Prime Group Holdings. Jonathan Krauscha. So we are currently working on what a contract might look like on bringing the water. So we don't have the specific water source that we will be getting at this time. You know, obviously we have to get through this stage in order to make the contracts, but they would not be coming from Marietta Water and Power.
Truck water in to build this facility.
Yes. Much like you would do a pool or anywhere else, people bring in water on a standard basis when you're filling systems up.
It's
I just want to make sure, and we actually had this discussion with the BLW director to ensure that the closed loop system, and his comment was, in other application with a closed loop system, the water usage is similar to a house. So yes, we'll use water because we'll have bathrooms and things like that. The cooling system is enclosed. It is brought in one time, and it is brought in as a combination of water with the chemicals that dissipate energy. It's put in like your radiator. It's used. Obviously, things there. You know, we always have to worst case scenario. So if there's a leak, we've got alarms that would let us know. It shuts it down. If it, for whatever reason, has to be replaced in the future, it is not discharged, and we made very clear this, it's not discharged into the municipal system. It is, again, would be discharged the same way it got there, which is via truck. So it comes in, system would be emptied and then refilled. But there's no reason to do that because it doesn't need to be refilled. But if for whatever reason it did.
How much water are we talking about?
In the system, when initially, it would only be brought in one time.
How many gallons or?
How many truckloads?
30,000 gallons brought at the.
So it's less than filling up a swimming pool?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Question for me. As far as the exterior of the site is concerned, I know you've mentioned the sound fencing and generators. Is there any other significant work being done to the exterior of the site?
No, and in fact, I mean, the mechanical uses out front will obviously take in what's in the front of the building. We'll be using the existing paved areas, so we're not disturbing any more pavement or anything like that. You know, it has been no other changes to the site. I mean,
It'll look largely the same as it does now with some generators. And
yeah,
some stuff.
yeah. Instead of metal storage buildings out front, it's going to be mechanicals out front.
I drove past that Sunday, and I rode all the way around it. So the concrete, what was storage units, they have been removed, correct?
Some of them have been removed, correct.
And then as you drive around the back of it, there are these white, look like storage pods.
That's exactly what those are.
What's inside of those?
Those are rental storage pods. That's the self-storage part of it, and that's going to remain. Yes, on the back side of the building, on the north side of the building, Those are storage pods. Rather than the blue metal, it's the same use. It's just pods versus a metal building. So it's pods that were put down. You can rent a pod, and it's on the existing pavement. That has been the use for the last 30 years. Those pods would remain because the property still will be self-storage with this additional use. Yeah, those are the newer pods, yes.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Paul, do you want to say something?
No, sir.
Ask now.
I will.
Ask your question.
Are you ready? I'm going to, excuse me, I want to entertain a motion. Mr. Smith?
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we forward this recommendation to City Council as not approved.
As
Not approved.
Recommend denial.
Denial.
okay. A motion has been made, excuse me, a motion has been made, pardon me, to deny this application. Do I hear a second?
I will second it.
Been properly motioned and seconded. All right, all in favor of denying the application, raise your right hand. All right, that's,
All opposed?
all opposed to the denial? All right, now, all in favor?
Well, now we need a motion to, if there's an alternative motion that anybody wants to make.
Let me get to it then.
All right.
All right. Now, do I have another motion in favor of this application?
Or another motion, period.
I'll make a motion that we approve this, recommend the City Council approval.
All right. Any second?
Second.
Been properly motioned and seconded to favor of this application. All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, same sign. 4 to 3.
And just a reminder, this is just a recommending body. There'll be an agenda work session on Monday where it may be discussed. There's not going to be any public comment Monday night. And then Wednesday night, there'll be a council meeting that'll have the item on.
This council meeting, there will be a 6 o'clock meeting and
Agenda session?
agenda session. and
7.
The regular council meeting will be at 7:30. Any further business concerning? Thank you. Next case.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the next case, Z202.
I don't think we were voted for.
We still have to.
Just give him a minute. We have 2 more items after this, so you can, if you want to wait until after, we're gonna. I don't know, but we got to keep them going. I think we're good to go to the next item.
I go. Yep.
Next case, please.